Thanks for joining me here on Tropical Weather Impact. It is Friday, June 27th, as we get ready to wrap up the month of June. National Hurricane Center keeping an eye on at least one feature down in the southern parts of the Caribbean and in the southern Gulf. We're also going to be watching some tropical moisture build on the northern Gulf here as we head into next week. So while there's nothing that is going to be blowing up in anything too wild, we don't think, we got a few features to watch. Let's start with this one. This complex of storms has been firing up the past couple of days in the far western Caribbean, just north of Honduras there. This is going to be lifting over the Yucatan, and then eventually it emerges back out over the Gulf waters later on this weekend, and that's when it has a low chance of trying to organize some. So right now, there's not a lot of model support for this, but I will say this part of the basin of the Gulf can sometimes surprise you with some quick spin-up systems. Also, that big burst of storms that's south of Mexico and the Pacific, it's expected to develop into a named storm, Flossie, here over the weekend and into early parts of next week. So a bit active down here near Central America. Either way, regardless of development, this is going to bring heavy rain across parts of Central America, the Yucatan here, and notice that large area of showers and storms are merging out over the Gulf here Saturday and into Sunday, and that's when it may try to organize some. This model is specifically not really aggressive, but again, there could be some gradual development as it moves towards parts of Mexico early next week. Notice it stays well south of the northern Gulf Coast. So what are we going to be watching on the northern Gulf? Well, it's that tropical moisture that's going to really start to pool and collect in the same areas through next week and maybe even into parts of next weekend. So this is the corridor where that tropical moisture is going to be most abundant, and with it being over the warm waters, whether it be the Gulf or parts of the eastern parts of the Atlantic here, the western parts of the Atlantic, there may be some weak low pressure trying to form. Now, looking at the latest data here, again, models are not really aggressive with this at all, but this type of setup usually leads to some lower pressure and mainly a rainmaker is the way this is looking right now. So again, the deep tropical moisture right now is locked down towards Mexico and Central America, where that National Hurricane Center is watching that feature. We do start to see more abundant tropical moisture build across the northern Gulf, though, by next week. Here we are next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday into the 4th of July. You have this corridor of deep tropical moisture from, let's say, New Orleans along the Florida Panhandle, over the Florida Peninsula, and then even near parts of coastal areas of Georgia and South Carolina. That's the area that could see the heaviest of the rain. And when you look at the data right now, we're really locking in on the Florida Panhandle, maybe into South Alabama, or as far east as nearly southeast, far west as southeast Louisiana. So this is the corridor where the heaviest rain potential will exist through next week. Now, this is not locked in. The exact locations, the exact amounts will change around some. This is one of those setups where if you get a lot of rain falling just off the Florida coast here, it may starve the atmosphere of the storms over towards southeast Louisiana. So that's one of those really fine details that's hard to forecast. A lot of rain out here would usually yield less rain out this direction. Now, that's not to say we couldn't see this heavy rain set up a little bit closer, and so that would be something to watch. But right now, I really think the Florida Panhandle, coastal areas, let's say from Gulf Shores, Pensacola, Panama City, Destin, all those locations have a much higher chance of rain going into the middle of next week, maybe even towards the 4th of July holiday too. Now, these showers and storms, they're going to pulse up and down each day. They're over warm waters. I mean, we're sitting in the upper 80s to near the low 90s here on the northern Gulf with our water temperatures. Low pressure is going to start to form. How much can it organize is a big question. I do think at the end of the day, it wouldn't be shocking if the Hurricane Center puts a little yellow blob up here to monitor it, but the chances are looking rather low. And again, this is going to be mainly a rainmaker regardless of what it does. We also have some Saharan dust, so when it's not raining on you, you may notice some haze in the sky. That Saharan dust over South Florida today, it will lift up through the Gulf through early next week, and so when we're not getting rain, or if we don't, I do think we're going to have some hazier skies from New Orleans back through Houston, where things are probably going to be a bit drier next week. A bit wetter the further east you go into the Florida Panhandle. Notice maybe less dust. So that's where things stand out in the tropics right now. A couple features we'll be monitoring over the next 7 days. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. We'll see you right back here for your tropical weather impact on Monday.